Hello, hello, hello. Here's another video. This is a backfill. I just wanted to show you guys, like, queued up, get into a match. It's actually a backfill. I really wish I could have been like put here at the beginning, but I mean, whatever. Like, this is like outside of the last match that I uploaded. This is quite literally like my other half of games. There's been times where I've played only 2 backfills for the entire hour because my queue time is so long. And when I finally do get into a match, it's because somebody left and I've been in queue for so long that it puts me in there. Whatever metric they use to basically create matches, it really screws me over on my main tunes. Almost to the point where I need to start playing either alt specs or just not playing my main tunes because it just takes so long to get a match. I mean, obviously I can play with somebody that may have like less games or less of a win rate or worse, like whatever metric they use. But honestly, like grouping off of anybody, I feel like most of the time in these matches, unless there's somebody to go against, it's pretty boring. Like it just makes it arguably worse. Obviously, I could play with people, and if there are people to play against, then that's great. But eventually, it's like you're playing against the same few people, if there is even a group. So I mean, it's a lose-lose situation. Obviously, if the population went up, this wouldn't be as big of a problem. Anyway, I'm gonna get into a couple things. I mean, I am playing tank, but I could totally guard people, and usually that's what you should do. But I don't really care to do that right now because I don't know anybody in this match that's actually like consistent or like worth guarding. So, and I also don't really see anybody else taking that much damage. So I just choose not to. And the only classes that are taking damage are classes that like heal through their defensives by taking damage, Mercenary for example. And I just want to save my defenses to be a little bit more defensive. I'm taking the Sonic Barrier Aegis Assault, which is my number 2. That's actually really good. It also gives it to you. I have a clip where it saved my life multiple times. It's a very good ability, and when you time it well, it's like, super impactful. I can absorb pretty much a whole thermal detonator, for example, so it's not anything to, slack about. Just use it whenever you want. You can kind of like time it pretty well and absorb some massive amounts of damage. So it's actually really good. It's just something that shouldn't be used just willy-nilly all the time, which is a weird thing to think about because you want it for the rage building. You also want it for the ability to have AoE raging, not raging, AoE crushing blow slash guardian slash. Sorry, I've been up for a long time at this point, and my mind is turned to mush after the games I've played today. At the very least, since I'm playing melee finally at this point in this day, I was a little bit more mentally like engaged with the match. I wasn't autopiloting, so it's kind of nice. Here soon, we're gonna have some like random duels. It's not even fair to like honestly if you're dueling a jet tank, dude, it's just stop. Just don't even bother. It's completely unfair. Like for example, Optimus can win, but for the most part, like things that aren't Deception Assassin, Concealment, or Lethality, dueling Guardian is just it's brutal, or it's Guardian slash jet tank. There are like outliers where Madness can probably win and whatnot, just because of Death Brand and about myself feeling it does at the moment, but for the most part, if you want to talk about classes that have their full kit, Jug Tank slash Guardian Tank pretty much have their full kit still, and they are an absolute menace. So ultimately, if you even are like interested in doing, I probably wouldn't be the class I'd personally want to fight, to be honest with you. Now, outside of taking the Aegis ability, which gives me a Sonic Barrier, I'm also taking the reduced cooldown on my enraged defense. And in this situation, we ended up 2v1ing. This guy's like not rolling anything, and he uses reflective evasion, so he doesn't have evasion up more often. Had he had evasion more often, he probably could have avoided a lot of my damage. Instead, he gets destroyed like an NPC, and that's super unfortunate. Probably should start rolling something instead of just standing there. This guy pops Reflect, and I'm like, okay, I guess I'll just get slowed and run over here, and then he like, I don't know, he just stood there. I put both hands on the keyboard, I guess. I don't know what to think. I don't really care either. I'm just like, alright, well, this is going to be easy because this guy doesn't really seem to know what he's doing. I'll just try to save my defensives a little bit, and then I see that he pops like 2 different defensives at 10%, so I just go ahead and commit my CC to him so I don't lose any more health. Because I already know that the other dude's like coming back. He's probably very clearly mad, so I'm just going to go ahead and regen here, buy myself some time, because if the other person is going to engage on me, I need to be ready. And sure enough, he engages on me right here. Unfortunately, I probably could have reacted to that a little bit faster, but it's not a big deal. I'm not really worried because I've already seen like the display of player ability already, so yeah. Anyway, so if you are like dueling as a concealment, it pays to be patient, and especially when you're playing against like a Juggernaut in general, it pays to be patient. But the thing is that they're able to pressure you so hard that most people will just end up crumbling. So in this situation right here, it might look like I misplay. If he was patient, he could have sapped me, but chances are I probably would have pulled him with Mad Dash. But if you rewatch that, I AoE taunted as he stuffed out. So what do you do when you're playing Juggernaut, like in general, or Assassin in general, when you try to pull somebody out of combat and they are not Assassin? As if they're Assassin, they have Force Shroud and they stuff out. What you should be doing is throwing out your AoE taunt. AoE taunt will pull operatives back into combat. Doesn't matter what spec they are, doesn't matter if they get evasion or not, it'll still pull them back into combat, and it's also a great tool for pulling them out of stealth if they're already in stealth. The easiest way to know that you actually hit somebody if you're AoE taunt is that you're still in combat after they're stealthed out. Absolutely screws them over, they can't sap you. So at that point, his only option really was to try to sap me, and that didn't work, so he tried to hit me. Had he been more patient, I could have probably, you know, gotten away, or combat would have dropped and I would have regened, which then he could sap me and maybe pull it off, but he would have had to be really patient. But overall, yeah, just that critical thinking I don't think was there for him, because I don't think he's like dueled very much in general, and all my dueling experience is like from like 2.0. Like I don't really care for dueling, and I haven't cared for dueling in a long time, because when you go into a war zone, it's an 8v8. It's a team fight simulator basically. If you go into a war zone specifically just to duel somebody while somebody else is there to basically play the 8v8 the way it's supposed to be, it's like not even fair. Like I could go in there with dueling utilities and single out and bully people as much as I wanted to. It wouldn't make a difference. I can already do that with 8v8 talents, and sometimes I'll completely scuff or handicap myself to the point that I virtually cannot duel at all. Sometimes I like to run PvE stuff, like PvE talents, PvE tacticals, and just force them on people just because they just don't know what they're doing. Which handicaps my ability to fight back in dueling situations. I intentionally do that. I don't really care at the end of the day whether somebody is like trying to duel me the entire time. I just think it's really dumb. Like it's not a display of skill, it's not a display of anything, it's just really dumb. Especially like trying to duel a jug tank. It's just really stupid in general. So I'm not saying like at any point like I'm better or anything like that. I could care less. Honestly, dueling's not for me, but I would definitely say it's probably not a good idea to go after jugs, let alone a tank jug, especially when you don't know what you're doing. It's not a good idea. But anyway, so outside of that, obviously Juggernaut got its crushing blow slash guardian slash nerfed. Even with that nerf, they are incredibly strong. The critical hit chance CDR crushing blow is also incredibly good. So it's not like it only has one option. So even if they remove the taunt damage one, they still have a backup talent that's actually incredibly good still. Then on top of that, we've got Ravage Root, which is great. I'm glad that we can still take Ravage Root, maybe Sweep and Slash if we wanted to take it, but most of the time you don't need to. And then we also have AoE Force Scream Slow. AoE Force Scream Slow is actually really good. It does a lot of damage. It's really good when you have people clumped up, but not clumped up enough to spam Sweeping Slash. And it's also hard to like tell when you would have that anyways, but the slow in general is really good. So like if you have a Carnage Marauder, having that force scream slow can really help them like stay on target. And especially if there's a lot of like predations like in queue, having the slow is kind of nice. Sometimes I'll swap into that just because of the slow. So actually having some sort of option is cool, but also at the same time it's like, this class is obnoxious. Why does it have so many things? Why does it have so many options? While it is a tank, it definitely is more versatile than like most classes in the game. And obviously that's probably for a good thing because it is a tank, but at the same time I do think there's no reason for it to have CC immunity. CC immunity should go. Tank should not have CC immunity. That is just obnoxious. No way that it should have ever gotten that. And then obviously maybe remove the taunt damage like completely. I really don't think that's necessary at all. It's definitely nice, but it's not necessary. Like the balance between taking full hatred and reduce cooldown and rage defense is a decent balance. Like I don't feel like that's a bad choice, like going either or. Obviously having rage defense more often is definitely going to increase your delaying potential, but also just your durability in general. I meant to hit buttons sooner there, but I totally messed it up. They get the cap, it's whatever. This guy's playing objectives because he's not able to do anything else, which is understandable. I would probably not do the same thing, but hey, you know, playing concealment sometimes can get really irritating because most of your abilities are 4 meter range, and if they suddenly became 5 meters, the class would be way more playable. That would be a crazy change, especially for like Carnage Marauder too. They both are not both, but I guess technically like all 4 meter range abilities suddenly turned 5 meter range. Like all the melees would be, especially the melees that aren't doing too hot, would be like infinitely more playable. Anyway, we're coming up near the end of the video. There's not much more to really say about this class. In this situation here, this guy is playing Rage and this guy's playing Madness, and they pretty much go through all their cooldown rotation to survive, and then this guy's also taking the 0 cooldown. I know a lot of people think that the 0 cooldown is good, and I can totally understand why you think that is. In small scale, just killing somebody, it makes sense, but when it comes to like larger scale and situations, like let's say you're able to get a combat reset and whatnot, getting reduced cooldown back to 0 is it's not going to have the same effect as like being able to double stack, hit 100k, but also get a mini predation, a root break, and in general a free proc for your abilities. While yes, you can spam Fear Strike or Raging Burst or Obliterate into Raging Burst like a complete bot, it doesn't like actually do anything for you. So if somebody actually has good defenses, spamming the same ability over and over again is not going to do anything other than make the game more simplified for the people that find it a little too complicated. Now, if you have a hard time trying to flow with the rotation of Rage, I totally understand why you would want to take it. But at the end of the day, it's not that good. Something like spamming Obliterate with the mini ward would probably be the only use case that I would say that it's not bad to take. But generally, if you're ever having to do that, you're probably playing some weird content that your class is just not very good at in the first place. Anyway, I pretty much always recommend the other one, just simply because one, it makes it easier to play, 2, it gives you more ability, and 3, it allows you to basically not mess up your rotation for the most part. Obviously you've got one Raging Burst that will go with Force Squish, and then you have another Raging Burst that will go with Enrage, and that's really all you have to think about. Never overlap them, and you're pretty much good. And anytime you get a combat reset, you're able to chain your burst a lot better. Then as for, like, obviously going into Guardian Tank again, outside of being able to use your AoE taunt to combat Rage, which does yellow damage, obviously you can pull people out of combat, but also does a decent amount of damage itself, including, you know, just regular taunt into combat focus slash enrage, be able to do yellow damage. So when you're doing your burst rotation for Guardian Tank or Jug Tank, you're throwing your lightsaber, jumping in, using Aegis into Ravage, into Taunt, into Combat Focus slash Enrage, into Crushing Blow slash Guardian Slash, into Retaliation, into Dispatch slash Vicious Throw. And that's pretty much your burst window right there, and the reason why you do it that way is so you can get 5 stacks of overwhelming offense if you're actually using it. Maybe you're not using it, but if you are using it, that's how you max stack it, and also still get your damage out within your relic procs. Other than that, super easy to play this class, and it has definitely got most of its kit, so pretty fun. I hope you guys have a wonderful rest of your day. I will see you guys again in a couple days.